That's what's really interesting about the evolution of Tommy's brand, because it went from being, I remember seeing, I went to school at Georgetown.
85, there was this Tommy Hilfiger
I couldn't
store.
afford it, but I thought it was the coolest stuff because it was, it had a little bit more vibe to it than Ralph Lauren, but
Classic with a twist.
it became the go-to wear in the hip hop community, and frankly, and commercially, it arguably was really the next step for the company. And so the question is, going from exclusive, more specific niche, audience demographic to a much broader, more urban environment, and maybe at some point, dare I use the term ubiquity, but really that's where the commercial success comes. No.
It's a global world. Also Europe. I mean, at the same time when the United States Hilfiger was blowing up, Europe was starting to incubate and Europe became big. So when Tommy went down in like 2000, Hilfiger Europe was growing and growing in the rest of the world. So it's really a global brand.
Looking at the rock and roll world and understanding where that vibe was something that also was very much about creating products and brands and style around big personalities, and whether it's J-Lo or folks that you really help to kind of bring into certain part of their own commercial success.
My first job besides the racing stuff was Andy, dress the musicians. Bring Iman wants to go to the warehouse for Iman and David for clothing. Drop shopping bag off at Mick Jagger's doorman. I was going to video shoots and it was like music and fashion, and it was a whole new way of advertising that wasn't spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars on pages and GQ.
Well, MTV was doing that for you, right? I mean, ultimately it was.
Absolutely.
And who do you think was really a style creator and an icon in the rock and roll world of that time?
In the rock and roll world, I mean,
Steven Tyler's a great place to start. I mean, that
Jennifer Lopez,
yep,
Steven Tyler. I mean, there's so many, but at that time it was really about Puffy and Mace,
yep,
Mary J. Blige, Wu-Tang Clan, and they would wear the clothes their own way. They put a style to it that was like so cool. And a lot of the other brands at this time, they didn't understand it. They weren't they weren't doing anything with it. But I had a record company with clothing at Hilfiger. And then I saw Jennifer Lopez and we created our own business, and we did the first major celebrity brand of fragrance, Glow by J-Lo, and it was number one.
Can I ask you about the dust up between Tommy and Axel?
Oh,
what was that all about? And I love GNR, but when I heard about that, I was like, man, Tommy Hilfiger, love it, man, going toe to toe with Axel.
What happened? It was an innocent thing. I mean, the venue, we were friends with him, and they kept calling, you guys coming tonight? Guns N' Roses, a private show.
Right.
Hanging with Kid Rock, and I think Lenny, Kravitz, everybody was there.
Yeah.
And Axel walked in, and I guess he moved this person's drink. And Tommy said, oh, that was her drink. And Axel said, well, who the are you? Or who the heck are you? Tommy's like, I'm Tommy Hilfiger. Tommy didn't know it was Axel.
I'm not sure anybody knew it was Axel.
He had the braids and
he is unrecognizable. I love Axel. But
Axel said, well, get out of here. And Tommy said, what do you mean? I'm not going anywhere. Still didn't really know who he was. And a little pushing, shoving. A couple days later, we got together with some mutual friends of Axel's, and then Hilfiger hired Guns N' Roses to play the opening of their LA store, and everybody's friends.
I hope so. And
the guys in Axel's band, Guns N' Roses too,
right.
Rick Fortis and Frank, the drummer, I was doing shows with those guys. So it was all a family, but Tommy didn't know who Axel was at that point.
It's a great story. Page 6 loved it in the post, as they do. Let's dive a little bit into today's both apparel scene, what's going on with retail.
These big brands, they have to adapt to the new world. Even before this whole Corona thing happened, with social media, and Hilfiger did that, and they did that right with doing collaborations with your Gigi's and stuff like that. Some of the competitors stayed with exactly what they always did and are having a tough time coming back now.
Yeah. What do you think is the future? I mean, if you can give us your crystal ball.
There's a lot of inventory in the market right now because obviously nobody could ship for 4 months
Yep.
and then everybody's online competing for the same dollars. So it's been very tough. A lot of the brands have way too much inventory. So I think your TJ Maxx and your Burlingtons and Ross, these places are going to prosper from all these great product and great brands. But after this, I think inventory levels are going to cut way back where the brands aren't going to buy so much up front. It's going to be a lot of cut to sell and a lot of testing things. Less is more, I guess.
The off-price stores have been performers in difficult markets in the last
They're
2 or
also
3 years.
being known for having great, the same product at half the price. And,
Yeah.
The fast fashion thing came in and really came in like a big storm and really took a lot of market share from a lot of these big American brands.
How are you defining fast fashion, Andy?
H&M, Forever 21, I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on with
Yep.
them, but
Yep.
Zara.
The clothes that you wear once and throw away.
Basically, but some of the quality is not bad for the price.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, another big thing in the whole apparel sector is manufacturing, where China got really more expensive and the tariffs. Like we were bringing in goods, not Hilfiger, but my company. I'm a creative director for a company called Artistics, and we sell Macy's and online, and we were bringing in product from China, and the prices were, with the tariffs and everything, were way too high. And we've established new production with Bangladesh in India, and it's great quality for much less the price. So I think China's going to lose a lot of production from a lot of big companies, and there's other countries that are doing great stuff.
American companies have been forced to look for other suppliers, and that's certainly in the apparel world.
We do a lot of T-shirts and printables, we call them, because you print blanks and hoodies, and some of them are made in the U.S. The U.S. ones are more expensive but better quality. But if we bring blanks in from South America and then print them in the U.S., they're kind of half made in the U.S. and the price is good and the quality is good.
On our way out here, Andy, because we're kind of talking about the intersection of rock and roll and fashion. First of all, is rock and roll dead? I mean, where are we with this? Because I'm sure people have been saying this every year for the last 40 years.
No, it just evolves and changes, and
right.
there's new groups all the time coming out. But no, when you can sell out a stadium tour with 80,000 people a night, like the Rolling Stones or Guns N' Roses, or rock and roll is not dead. Rock and roll style is not dead.
Are the days of the Hilfiger brand and some of the folks that maybe came before, Calvin Klein or Ralph Lauren, or are those days over?
These huge American brands have to evolve with the times.
Yeah. That's
what Hilfiger did, and they did it really well with social media, with Zendaya and Gigi Hadid and Lewis Hamilton, the Formula One champion. He's a Tommy guy, and that's global. I mean, so you can't just sit on your laurels and sell nice clothes. It has to be a lifestyle built. Action has to be happening. Excitement.
It's been exciting talking to you. Over my left shoulder is a picture of my, this is my high school band, by the way. These are the guys that I used to go see the Ramones with. We called ourselves the Apathetics.
Where did you play?
If we were lucky, we played at a couple local joints up in the Westchester area.
What do you play?
I'm a drummer.
Oh my God, so I have a drum set here, just dying for somebody to come play with me.
All right. It's a deal. And our studios are, when we get back to the NASDAQ, we're obviously right near where your office is.
Oh, great.
We'll get together. Andy, this has been a ton of fun. And thanks for your insight into fashion, into apparel, into rock and roll. You have a storied history, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
As well. Thank you so much for having me.